Hi there, this is Niki Rowland, and this is the first one of a series of process videos for my December 2019 album. So I do a version of December Daily or a December album every year. It's one that I go from pages 1 to 31, and I basically just use it as a record of everything that we've done in December. So I kind of use it as a diary. Last year and this year, I've sold a kit to my crop ladies, Go Crop Away, and we have made these Christmas albums together. So this is what I've done with my Go Crop Away kit. The kit included a lot of the Snowflake collection by Crate Paper, including the 6x8 paper pad, and we also had some acrylics from Bramble Fox. So we had the December 2019 set, and then also Morag made us a fabulous set of numbers that coordinate with the Snowflake collection. So that's the kit. We also have many other things in the kit too, but I just thought I would talk through my initial preparations. So when I am first faced with a December album and starting it for the first time, I have tons of stuff, tons and tons of it, and it's a bit overwhelming, and really it's hard to know where to start. So what I do each time is I put a whole stack of page protectors in my album, and then I go through the 6x8 pad and I pull out all the papers. Normally there's a few that I'm not going to use as a background, so I leave those ones in there. They're like the cut apart sheets, are the ones that have really big icons on them. So I have gone through that whole pad, pulled all the papers out, left the ones in that I don't think will work as backgrounds, and I'm going to insert them into my page protectors. The way that I tend to use my kit is I have a page of white cardstock background on the left and a page of coloured pattern background on the right for every double page spread. So literally I've gone through my whole album. I've actually trimmed down my page protectors as well, because it really annoys me that the page protectors are slightly larger than 6x8, so I've trimmed them all down ever so slightly from the top, and I've gone through my album, put 6x8 pieces of card in all the left side pages and 6x8 pieces of pattern paper in all the right side pages. So that's just a really good starting point for me, just I can see it all visually then. I also go through the paper pad and I pull out all the branding strips. So at the top of every piece of pattern paper there is a coordinating strip of paper as well, right at the top, holding it in place. It has a perforation through it and it also has a hole in it. However, I pull these out of the 6x8 pad, and I put them into the coordinating pocket page protector as well, just so that I have an extra little bit of pattern that I can use for pattern paper in my design as well for that day. That's what I did to start off with. Now I'm going through and figuring out, I wanted to actually start doing my front page, but the first piece of paper I pulled out of the paper pad was this really dark blue that says Winter Wonderland. That was going to be my title page, but actually I decided against that. So I've taken it out and I've put in a piece of paper that has Christmas trees all over it. And with the Winter Wonderland, I have gutted that 1 inch in from each edge. I've kept the frame and I'm going to use that for various things throughout the album. But the Winter Wonderland itself, I've trimmed down basically to 6x4, punched holes in it, and I'm just going to have that as an insert. It could go anywhere in the album. It's not day specific, so it could go anywhere. But it's just a nice insert, and I can use the back for journaling or to add an extra photo. I just thought I would do that. I really want to get in lots of different sized pages this year. I did that quite a bit last year, and I want to extend on that this year. Okay, so there we go. Now, my front of my album had a big crease in it. Unfortunately, the album was damaged. It's a Carta Bella Christmas album. It's really lovely. It's a really deep red print with snowflakes all over it, just lovely. But sadly, it had a big crease in it, and I didn't notice until I started to use it, because it had a piece of cardstock around the middle, which was like the branding. But unfortunately, when I took that off, I realised it had this really bad crease through the album. It was really very bad. I've had to cover that up. So I've just put a piece of red ribbon right around the middle. It goes all the way to the inside cover as well, which I've sewn. And I've I've just slipped that over and then put it in place, and then I've added a tag from the ephemera, the December 2019 acrylic, and a gold bow plus some pink twine as well. So that was my front cover, and the only reason I did decorate that was because of the damage. Moving on to my inside first page, I've created a little calendar which I've printed. And I'm sticking that into the middle of my Christmas tree pattern paper that you can see there. I decided that that was the better option for my front cover than that Winter Wonderland dark blue. So I've just put that in the middle. I'm just distressing the edges of that. I've trimmed it right down so that it's very close to the edges of the calendar. Distress the edges, sticking that in place. I'm going to add the December acrylic to the top. And I'm going to add 2019 underneath. But before I did that, I went through with my sewing machine and I stitched a gold border around the calendar. So just getting the December stuck in place now, and I've also added some cardstock stickers down the bottom. So that's the car with a tree on the top and 2 Christmas trees in like the goldy coppery colour that appears in the Snowflake collection, and the 2019 with the black thickers from the Snowflake collection. Okay, so moving on now, I wanted to, before I move on to my first few pages, I wanted to do a bit of prep work for the inserts and things that we're going to put in the album. So this one here is a vellum insert, so everybody has a couple of sheets of vellum in their kit, and I've trimmed this piece down to, it's not 6x8, it's 7x8, and that's so that because I'm putting it directly into the album, not in a page protector, so that it actually is still the same width as the regular pages. It's just that so basically, you know, the side strip of the page protectors, that's not accounted for in the 6x8 measurement. So this size, the 7x8, does account for that. And then of course I've trimmed it down slightly on the right hand edge by using a border punch. So this at the moment is just a plain piece of vellum. It started off 7 inches by 8 inches tall, and I have done a border punch down the right side, and I've punched some holes as well. What I'm doing now is I'm adding some stamping. So we have stamps in our kit, the Snowflake stamps, and I've used the Christmas tree stamp to stamp a few times down the bottom of the insert. 1, 2, 3, 4 actually, 4 Christmas trees I've stamped across the bottom edge, and then I've done it with embossing ink, and then I've applied white embossing powder over the top. It's really hard to see where you've stamped when you're using a clear ink on vellum. You can really hardly see it at all. So I struggled a lot. I just did 4 trees at a time, added the embossing powder, and then I did the next 4, added the embossing powder, then the next 4, etc. And then I heat embossed the whole lot together right at the end. And then what I've done is I've stuck over the word December, which is a cut file that's included in the kit, and that I've stuck directly over the top of that piece of vellum. Now the back is still plain, it doesn't have anything on the back at all, and I'm still working out what I'm going to do with the back of it. I could write on it, or I could add photos or add more embellishments or whatever, but I need to be careful because of course it's vellum and therefore it is see-through. So I will tackle that one when I come to add my photos. It might just stay plain. So now I'm using these tags. So I've printed everybody 4 tags. I got this idea from Ali Edwards. She includes tags or various different shaped things in her albums every year for her family members to fill in. And I decided that I wanted to do this. So I'm going to make a tag for every member of my family. There's 5 of us. At the moment, there's only 4 tags, but the 5th one will be added at some point. And each one is already printed and cut out for everyone. I have cut a strip of vellum and a strip of white card to go across each one, and used the same border punch I used along the vellum on the previous insert, sorry. And I'm just adding, and then I'm putting the names on the tags with thickers, so the black thickers from the Snowflake collection. I'm tying each tag through with some ribbon. We all must have loads of ribbon in our stash. I certainly do. And I have just trimmed the tops of the ribbon, stapled them in place, and punched holes in the tags themselves. And also, you might have just seen me, I just put a tiny amount of wet glue along the top of each piece of ribbon, just so that they don't fray at a later date. So that's what I was doing there. So all of those tags just go inserted into my album, and they are ready for my family members to fill in. Not quite sure how Theo, who's only one, is going to fill his in. I'm pretty sure that my Sophie will happily fill it in for him. So that's that. Moving on to this tag now. I just used one of the templates. So I've made a load of templates for everybody, and I'm just using one of those to draw around and cut out of patterned paper. So I've chosen one of the pattern papers that I decided not to use as a background. I initially thought I would fussy cut out all of these snowmen, and use them for embellishments, but I just thought that this would be a nice pattern paper to use as an insert. So so I've cut out the tag shape, and I wanted to have a little interactive part here, and I'm using some gold washi tape. I actually don't use this washi tape throughout the rest of the album. The scallops just don't really work. This one is the Maggie Holmes one from, oh goodness, can't remember, a collection. Not sure which one, but yeah, the scallops don't really work, so I actually change it over to a different copper dotted one at different parts of the album. So at the moment I've just put that journaling card, which is from the cut apart sheet, and I've attached it with washi tape to the side of my tag, and I'm not sure if I've done it or not, but I also add a piece of white card underneath the flip up piece as well. So now I'm moving on to pages 1 and 2. So I have got my first piece of paper, or my first piece of cardstock, sorry, which is on the left page, and the pattern paper on the right page, and then I have my coordinating branding strip. It's not really a branding strip, but you know what I mean, the perforated strip that comes in the top of the pages of the paper pad. And I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this as a layout. So this is my first actual layout in the book, in the album. So I struggle very much with full page backgrounds in pattern paper. I really struggle with it. So I need to put lots of white onto my backgrounds. So, but I do love pattern. I really love having pattern papers in my album and showing lots of them. But of course I need places to add photos, and I need places to add journaling. So I achieve that by using white cardstock. It might be that I put a 6x4 photo on the right hand side in that space there. Not sure yet. We'll see what happens when the photos are printed. So I'm just sticking my big strip on the page, and then I've cut a piece of 6x4 in white to go on the right hand side of the page, and I'm now just working out what embellishments to use. So again, at this point I'm feeling slightly overwhelmed because there's so many products, but I have to make it stretch over 31 pages, so that's a lot of pages to do. So I don't want to go crazy and use loads and loads of embellishments all in one go. So I just have to be aware, have to restrain myself not to use too much in one go at one time, because otherwise I'll run out. Even though at the moment, because I'm only on page 1, I feel like I've got tons and I've got so many supplies, I'll never run out. But I'm obviously very, very wary that I could run out at some point. So okay, so I'm just I've added those 2 little houses at the bottom left there. One is from the ephemera pack, and one is from the cardstock stickers. I've also added the first Bramble Fox #1 acrylic, although I will be moving that in a minute. It doesn't look, I'm not happy with where it is. And also a little gold sticker. It says Snuggle Weather, and that is from the sticker book, the Snowflake sticker book. So they're just getting in place now. And then over on the right hand side I have the oval sticker that is from the cardstock stickers. I have the bird as well, he's very cute, and the #2 acrylic as well. So the #2 is mine. I'm also putting a blue narrow on the cardstock stickers, so I'm just getting that underneath white cardstock. I just felt that it needed a little bit of colour there. because the background paper is obviously not very colourful. It's a black and white one. So just getting those stuck in place. I've also added a border sticker along the bottom edge of that 6x4 piece. They are from the gold or the coppery colour thickers from the Snowflake collection. They're the phrase thickers. They've got lots of different phrases on. Now just getting my number 1 acrylic stuck in place. So I wasn't happy with the placement of it over on the right hand side of the houses, so I've just stuck it in the middle of the houses actually. And now just coming in with some golden gems. They're really tiny little gold coloured gems, and I'm just sticking one of those in the middle of every single one of these snowflakes on the background there. So just that background is a little bit dull by my standards. I prefer colour, so it's just nice to jazz that up slightly with some sparkle. So there you go, that is that one done. So here are some close-ups of the things that I completed today. And thank you very much for joining me for this preparations video, and I'll be back soon with some more pages. Thank you, bye.